All right off the bat, everyone, just want to say our Duggar deep dive is going to come later on. It might be this Friday or it might be next week. So sorry. We ended up just doing some celebrity hot topics because there was a lot to discuss. And so we're going to save the Duggars for, this week, later on, or next week. Also, want to drop a line. If you like this podcast, if it brings you joy, if it makes you laugh, if you think it's not totally embarrassing, please share it on your stories. Post a link with your favorite episode or an episode you've recently liked. It really helps us grow. Literally, just the act of sharing it on stories helps people find out about it, and it really helps us. So if you feel called to do that, please do.
Okay, so let's get to the episode.
Well.
Hello. Another episode.
Am I triggering you by wearing this t-shirt?
Oh my gosh. I hope Courtney's not listening to this episode. I am not a graphic tee person, personally. Only because they don't match my vibe.
Wait, this has nothing to do with the fact that it's a graphic tee. It's what it says.
Okay, I'm just going to finish that. I do think graphic tees are cool and vintage. It's sick. It's not my best look. It doesn't match my face and overall energy.
Okay, it doesn't match my face is an insult to me.
Let's just talk. Okay, what does it say?
Huey Lewis in the news.
Oh, you want to talk about a story where I traumatized our mother.
Where you ruined something for our pure mom.
Our mother, who did everything she could to give us a spectacular, beautiful childhood filled with joy, filled with effervescence, filled with pizzazz. You today want to drag me through the mud and show her how I rewarded her for all of the efforts and sacrifice she gave us as children by ruining the Huey Lewis in the News concert for her. You want to talk about that this morning?
It's the first thing on my list.
Why don't you tell the story then? Okay. What happened, Chandler? What do you
was
want the
I don't even know if I was there. I don't know if I was there.
You were there.
Well, I was probably too busy being an amazing daughter and picking up the pieces of the emotional wreckage that you incurred to notice that you were there.
Okay, I'll tell this story really briefly because Chandler clearly thinks I don't have enough haters, and so I need a few more. So when I was 18 or 19, our mother wanted us to go to a Huey Lewis and the News concert with her. This is a band from back in her day. Okay. I had never listened to Huey Lewis and the News, and I was not excited about this. I also didn't like outdoor events. I was a little bit more of a homebody at this time. I did not like anything that required a line or a lot of people.
Right.
So anyway, I would have preferred to just have stayed wrapped in my shawl, reading Pride and Prejudice in my, childhood bedroom at 19 with like fever dreams of romance and, I don't know, my intellectual scholarly pursuits, than be dragged to Go ahead.
Well, I'll just say it's funny because you've kind of come full circle, because I think in that day and age, you definitely thought rock and roll was like a scourge to humanity. And I think you're back there with your Serena Joy phase.
Yeah, well, I think one of the journeys you take as an adult is returning to who you truly were as a child. And so that's true, Chandler. But anyway, long story short, I just put up a big fight. I didn't want to go to this concert, and I found it to just, I thought the activity held at the Orange County Fairgrounds was going to be a garish one, to say the least, filled with all sorts of people with their spear sloshing out of the sides of their cups onto their sticky fingers on a hot, humid Irvine, California, inland California evening. This was not something I was interested in. But Mom insisted we attend with her. And so I proceeded. This is when everyone is going to be like, yes, I knew I hated her. And thank you, Chandler, for doing this to me. I just then proceeded to any time, like basically all throughout the concert, I would just be like, very loudly and obnoxiously, I would be like, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Lauren decided to make a fool of herself at the event and make everyone else who was cheering in an authentic way, or, from a pure place in their heart, look stupid. I'll just say that at the time I did listen to Huey Lewis in the News. I still kind of do. And it was a cute event that Mom had planned for, us and her two daughters. And so the fact that you made fun of her and all the other concert goers was really tremendously rude.
I was listening to Puccini at that time, so Huey Lewis in the News was not on
Barf.
my radar. I'm sorry, I was so obnoxious. I was the type that would wear shawls and go to the symphony alone. And so this was not my milieu, Chandler. And I
Yeah.
think I was just trying to adopt the energy of the crowd, which was celebratory and receptive to this more grungy sonic experience.
Mm-hmm.
Mom
Mm-hmm.
did not appreciate my
No.
very loud and faux enthusiasm.
Right.
And she said I ruined the concert for her. And it
Mm-hmm.
created this
Mm-hmm.
huge fight. And the reality is that I never wanted to attend, and she shouldn't have forced me to go, but I should not just been such a raging bitch too. So
I just feel like it was high time for you to also explain when you ruined a concert for mom, because I've ruined a concert for mom, and it's just
oh,
like
oh my
we've
gosh.
shared that story. Everyone knows it. I'm actually not
No,
in
no,
a place
no.
to retell it. I'm not in a
No, no,
place to
no.
retell
You
it
you
today.
I'm
I
sorry.
haven't
You
actually
want me to
taken my medicine, so I'm not in a place to retell it.
I'm sorry, Chandler, but you want me to walk out in front of a bus? You're going to walk out in front of a bus this morning too and also be thrown under it. And I just want to say as a disclaimer, we're going to retell stories on this podcast because one of the things that I think can be frustrating when I'm listening to other podcasts is when the co-host will be
Mm-hmm.
like, "We already told that story in another episode." So for the most people who probably haven't heard it, right? Most people have not listened to every single episode of this
Mm-hmm.
podcast. They want to
Yep.
hear it. And the loyalists who listen to every episode, they love a retelling. So let's, Chandler, walk everyone through
I don't want to
memory
retell.
lane of when you were the world's shittiest daughter.
I haven't meditated this morning. I'm not holding the emotional
You're
space to
doing
retell this
it.
story.
Okay, I'll tell
It's
it.
the
Shall I
only
tell it?
time, it's the only time in my life that I've truly been shitty. I think was literally those 3
Mm,
hours.
I would disagree.
I've had dalliances with, being a little bit rude and selfish, but
You've had
this time
dalliances with
this
the
was
shit before.
yeah, but I have never been this shitty. And since to this day, Lauren, you can tell it.
No, no. Trust me, my voice is heard well enough on this podcast, Chandler. So why don't you regale us with the tale? You were there. I was not. I just heard about it when the weeping and wailing of gnashing of teeth commenced upon your return home.
Okay. Mom, McCall, and I had tickets to go see Brandon Flowers. Brandon Flowers is the lead singer of The Killers. Mom, if you're listening to this, I'm just going to give you a huge trigger warning because your blood pressure is going to skyrocket as I retell this. McCall's our littlest sister. At the time, I think I was about 15 or 16. I think I was 16. McCall then would have been about 11. And I'm not going to reveal mom's age. Actually, I just don't know what it would have been at the time. So we had tickets to go see Brandon Flowers at the House of Blues San Diego. Okay. A small, intimate venue in, the Southern California region. And mom had some friends that were also going to the concert who had VIP tickets for like the balcony area that was like 21 plus. Okay. But McCall and I had general admission. Okay. So we could go and be amongst the moshers or whatever in the general admission area.
Yes, in like
Anyways,
the
that's
orchestra
neither
pit or whatever.
this is important. I'm sharing these, logistical details because that is a critical part of this awful story.
Hey, really quick, sorry. Who paid for the tickets?
That's neither here nor there. That
Who
actually
paid
is
for
neither.
just curious, who paid for the tickets?
I'm sure mom paid for them. And then I was like, they can be a part of my birthday present or something.
Right.
Nonetheless, okay. Deborah's credit card was used. Anyways, we arrive at the concert and we, get to the doors and basically mom goes, you go like scout out a place for you and McCall to stand and then come back and get McCall and then I'll go up to the VIP section. And I'm like, great. I'll go down there. I'll see what the vibe is, see where we can stand. And then I'll come back and get McCall. Because I think for whatever reason, mom didn't want to just like send us both on our own. She wanted us to like find a spot. And then after she felt like we were in a safe place, go to the adult section. All right.
Right. And McCall, just to reiterate, McCall's little. She's like 10 at this time.
Yeah, 10, 11. She's old enough. She would have been fine.
Mom couldn't really leave her alone at a club.
Yeah. I then, like the submersible, I detach myself from the mothership and I begin to, go further and further into the crowd to find a spot for McCall and I to stand in. At this point, the show is completely going and Brandon Flowers is, a very sexy man and he's giving up the performance of his life to this Southern California crowd and
his pheromones are wafting over you.
I get closer and closer to the stage and I realize I can't go back. I cannot go back because I will lose this close, this 3 rows away from Brandon Flowers' face spot. Because you know how that works at a concert where it's like you find your spot and you stay there because people will try to push and and you got to like just maintain your ground.
You can always push your way back, but continue.
I didn't think I could, and I wasn't willing to risk it for anybody. Oh, I don't have cell service. I do have my cell phone, but I don't have cell service, in this grotto part of the House of Blues. Anywho, Mom and McCall proceed to then wait outside the venue for the duration of the concert. The bouncer does not. The bouncer
for
does
you
not
to
allow,
come in, for you to come back to ostensibly get McCall, but they are left because you never return. So Mom to a concert she has paid for. Okay, this is the part where I just
they could just hear the sound of the concert.
Everyone says you're so likable, that you're just like, the best among us. Chandler has her own Achilles heel. And I think that this tale is really illustrative of a part of her personality you may not be aware of.
Like I said before, I am not in a place to revisit my past this morning, okay?
But that's what we're doing.
And that's what we're doing. It was the shittiest moment of my life to date, okay? It's, June 27th. Happy birthday, Dad. It was the worst thing I've ever done to date. I kept thinking in my head, I should go back. But then the music loving, indie girl inside me was like, stay. Like, enjoy the concert. They'll be fine. McCall, they'll figure it out. The bouncer never allows Mom and McCall to, separate. He says she can't go in by herself. I think that was like one of the things. McCall couldn't go by herself to like general admission because she wasn't like over 16. So Mom could never leave her side. They could just hear the concert going, but never were allowed inside the venue itself.
I'm dying.
It's I'm like hot. It's the worst thing ever. It's so terrible, and it's just so, it's like beyond the pale of like teenage selfish behavior. It's like, it's actually like the worst thing ever. I should have I should be locked up.
It's like I
should be like, yeah,
it's full evil. Like in the battle versus good and evil, you took the full side of evil on that fateful eve.
Satan had me in his clutches that night, and the show ends, and then I just know that I'm gonna get in trouble.
Okay, so
because
was that like?
But I also thought to myself, maybe they were able to get in. Like I wasn't like
wishful thinking.
Some wishful thinking was happening where I was like, I'm sure they were able to get in. Like I've just got separated from a call. It happens. I then ascend the stairs up to the street level where Mom and McCall are waiting for me, and Mom is shaking. She is so mad. She's shaking. She is shaking.
I probably have never seen Mom this mad. Because obviously I've never done something even to this day, like even within this realm of a degree of selfishness.
I don't know. I do think I was the favorite child until that fateful night. Mom has never been more upset with me. She proceeds to shake and scream and yell. She has every right to do. It was the end of my life as far as I knew it. I think I was grounded for a month. I think I definitely lost my cell phone for a long time. Yeah, and to this day, when she brings it up or when it gets brought up, like I still feel sick to my stomach. So if anyone has connections to Brandon Flowers or to the killers, I would love to, repay and restore what I stole from my mom. And yeah, anyways, Lauren, there you go. The worst thing I've ever done, revisited.
I am like, honestly, I'm not usually speechless. I'm usually a woman of many words, a champion of the long form, if you will. But telling
you got that right.
Telling that tale, well, there's just no response. There's no response adequate to capture the gravity of the injustice you committed against our mom. So anyway, we should probably move on.
Right. I wish that I could have just gone to juvie right after, just so that I could have like paid my sentence, made things right, and then be absolved. But because I didn't, like I'm going to spend my lifetime making up for it.
I mean, a short trip to the electric chair would have been quite efficient to me to really just have justice served. Okay. Anyway.
Wow. Thank you.
I actually, we're talking some personal tales, you guys. I have my own personal tales this week, Chandler, that I wanted to regale you with. Do you mind?
Please, I have a few as well.
This could just be an entire episode of us just shooting the breeze.
I feel so sick about that story. Like I need to like fast forward to the present day and remind myself that I'm a good person and that I like strive to be like good to my family and like because it truly sends me to like another place, another realm. And
Yeah.
like wow.
No, I think
Yeah,
that's
let's
what's
move on.
interesting about I think that's what's interesting about like doing things wrong or right is
Mhm.
that like regardless of if you get caught or not, you
Yeah.
tend to suffer internal, you know, suffering. The guilt is
Forever.
just so real and it never really goes away.
And I don't think I've done very many things in my life that were like truly, truly wrong. You probably have, but I know I haven't. It like I'm sweating right now.
No, my moral compass has always been pointed north, and I have always been following it ardently, with nary a turn in the path, Chandler. But let's just move on to my own little tales this week. So
Okay.
my marriage is over.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's June
Good morning.
27th. Happy birthday, Dad. Love you so, so much.
You've got another
Um,
case on your hands, another divorce coming right up.
Yeah, I need to call your office, the law offices of John A. Bledsoe in Lake Forest, California, to handle the dissolution of my marriage because Chandler, two dark things happened on Sunday night. So Kagan and I
Okay,
were
wow.
enjoying an evening together watching the Titanic.
You got Kagan to watch the Titanic with you?
Well, it's called Titanic. So I was watching Titanic.
Okay, you got
Eh,
Kagan to watch Titanic with you.
yes. I was
I don't know
watching
why
it
that
and
doesn't seem like his vibe.
it's not, but he cuddled up next to me and was enjoying
Cute.
it. It turns out that it is a really, really captivating movie experience. Anyway,
Sure.
so we are watching it together. We get to the end, okay? And I don't know if anyone remembers what happens at the end in terms of Rose. So
You're curious if people have forgotten what happened at the end of Titanic. Hey, anyone here forgot what happens at the end of Titanic? Like, does it go down? Does it not? Are all those people like alive?
do they make it to New York? No, okay. What I'm talking about is the basically Kate's tale of survival, or I'm sorry, Rose's tale of survival
Mm-hmm.
is a winding one. So she gets on a lifeboat, she immediately gets off, right? Because she does, you know, she doesn't want to be with her mother, hates her mother, and needs to go after Jack.
Yeah.
Anyway, she goes after Jack. She uses
Okay.
the
You're getting lost in
sledgehammer.
the details.
Long story short, so she and Jack are together on the ship trying to survive, right? And they're running
Yes, yes.
around,
Yeah.
swimming around. It's not
Yes.
good. And
Yes.
Cal, her
Mm-hmm.
fiance at the time, he finds her, he puts his jacket around her. And anyway, there's this moment where Cal and Jack Dawson put Rose in a
Yeah.
lifeboat. So this is her second time in the lifeboat,
Right.
right?
Right. Right.
And
After
she's
she's already
being
climbed out, right?
after she's already climbed out once.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And so they're lowering her. And anyway, she gets out again. She jumps out of the lifeboat, jumps onto the sinking ship.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like the most dangerous, scary move ever, first of all. But also just like not smart, bitch. Like just stay in your lifeboat.
Yeah.
Stay in the
Love, Lauren.
lifeboat.
You've just probably never known a love like that.
Well, anyway, so that was, I guess, what was revealed because I can't help myself and I go, girl, stay in the lifeboat. Stay put. Sit your ass down.
Right, right.
Anyway, I just kind of said that. And then the
Yeah.
movie, we proceed to keep finishing it, and then the movie's over. And so
Yeah.
anyway, something comes up about like their love, and I kind of like was like, you know, we're just like them. And he's like, really, we are. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, well, you know, it's interesting because she died for him. And I heard you wanting to stay in that lifeboat while we were watching.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of like there's this movie, I think it is with Gael Garcia Bernal. This is like a 10-second thing, but there's this movie with Gael Garcia Bernal. I still can't pronounce his name.
Natalie Portman's ex.
It's this movie, and basically he and his girlfriend are hiking through Patagonia with like this group, and it's this very intense hike, and they get approached by ne'er-do-wells and who pull a gun, and he pushes the girlfriend in front of him, and it's like this like cataclysmic moment in the relationship, and the entire movie is about the fallout from that one action.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And my utterance to Rose to sit her ass down in the lifeboat was that moment for our relationship. We're now I think Kagan doubts my love. I think he thinks I would leave him to die on the Titanic.
You probably
And
would.
I'm like, I don't know how to move on from here, how
Right.
to
How
move
do
forward
you?
from
Yeah.
here. And anyway, it's just been a lot to manage emotionally for us.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm so sorry you're going through that. I think there is a good chance that Kagan will recover. Probably not anytime soon, but you're going to have to spend the rest of your life reassuring him that your love might not be as deep as Jack and Rose's, but it'll do.
Well, I told him, I said, so you want me to get back on and die? Like,
Yeah.
you did all that work to get me saved. Also, if that bitch had sat her ass down and just got lowered to sea,
Yeah.
he would have been able to, lie on the door frame.
Right. Right.
He wouldn't have had to stay in the water and die. So actually, she killed him by
She
jumping
killed
back
him.
on the ship.
She killed him.
Also, she would have had the blue diamond in her coat pocket. He could have been saved. They could have literally been set up for life together if she had just sat her butt down in
Yeah.
that lifeboat. Okay? She had diamond in her pocket. She had a lot of breath left in her lungs. So anyway, that was
true.
my rebuttal.
Wow. Well, I just want you to know that I appreciate your take on Titanic, and
Thank
I think
you.
it's something that we've been missing, and I'm just finally glad we got to get to it.
I'm also not good in a crisis. Like, you really want me back on the ship trying to
Totally.
figure
I'm
this
like,
out with you?
yeah.
I think you
No.
want me out of here.
No, literally.
The other
Okay.
funny moment that we had was it's like a 1-minute story, but basically
Yeah.
we were talking about hall passes. And he was like, so let's just say you actually met your hall pass. Like, would you do it? Like, would you
Mhm.
actually hook up with them? Okay.
Yeah.
This was another fun
Yeah.
conversation we were having.
Great fun conversation.
Yeah. And I was hemming and hawing because I was like, I mean, I just can't imagine you actually being okay with it. Like, so I don't
Yeah.
think I would. Like,
Totally. I mean, after this Titanic thing too, clearly he is expecting undying love and commitment.
like I got to get out my boat and pony show for this guy. So yeah. So I'm just like, really kind of looking both directions.
Right.
Anyway,
Who is your hall pass?
King Charles.
No,
so
your hall pass is not King Charles, Lauren.
no,
I-
hall pass is fully not King Charles.
Who is? I feel like it's like Alexander Skarsgård or something.
No, I know this is corny, but it's James Marsden in The Notebook is my hall pass.
James Marsden is your hall pass?
In The Notebook, yeah.
Lot?
Yeah. No, I think is it Cal? It's another Cal.
No, Cal. I thought Cal was in Titanic.
His
Hang
name
on
is
a second.
Hammond.
James
Hammond.
Marsden? James Marsden, the guy who was in Enchanted?
James
Right?
Marsden, the guy who was in The Notebook.
The guy who who's just like token hot white guy, like in every single like oh my gosh, Lauren.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, he literally is perfect looking, and also in The Notebook, he is so sweet to her. He is so kind to her. They're going to live an incredible life. He's deeply in love with her. He's set up for success. Meanwhile, Noah over here needs to think bigger than the shipyard. Okay.
It's funny because I feel like Noah would be the hall pass because Noah's like this person you have like this like crazy fiery connection with that's almost burns too bright. Interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure when you're 18, that's what you're looking for, right? It's like sexual chemistry is first and foremost. But the guy who maybe doesn't have a drinking problem, who has a job, whose family has generational wealth, it's like, girl, let's make a pro con list real quick. Anyway, so we're discussing hall passes, and he says, "Would you actually do it?"
Yeah.
So then I'm like, okay, if your feelings are totally good, I know you're totally fine. We're going to make it. Our relationship is going to be unimpacted.
Right.
Then I was like, okay, well, here's my questions. Like, what has the night been like? Is he flirting with me? Are we at a party where he's looking at me from across the room?
Yeah.
Is he pulling me aside for a little conversation? Is he asking me to go get a drink with him in a late night dinner? Is he looking deeply into my eyes? Is he in love with me? Is he obsessed with me? Is he willing to change his entire life to be with me? Is he, is he beguiled, bewitched under he's just completely enraptured by me.
Right. Full Taylor Swift song.
And Kagan's just like, you are ridiculous. He was like, that doesn't matter at all for men. He's like, that doesn't matter at all.
Right.
He's like, if my hall pass is literally if she's blinking once, it's a go. Like, I'm just like, oh my
Like
gosh.
if it's consensual, it's a
If
go.
it's consensual and she's alive, he's
It's a
apparently
go.
ready to roll. Yeah.
There's got to be no emotional connection. Essentially, it's
He's
like the
like,
emotional connection scrapped.
that's what I said to him. I was like, so she has like no idea who you are, and like has
Right.
no feelings for you. He's like, that sounds hot. I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I am getting a divorce.
Yeah. I mean, I'm stealing this quote from some of my favorite people on Instagram, but men are not people. Men aren't people. I'll just say it.
Well, and the whole point was he was trying to say like female and male sexuality is
Yes.
so different.
Right.
And that's why if you're in an open relationship, like that's why they usually don't work, because men exercise their optionality a lot more than women do.
Right.
And it just creates all sorts of problems because
Right.
women, most of the time, don't at me, are not that interested in just like screwing someone based on the criteria that they're hot and blinking. So
Yeah.
Anyway.
Wow. Okay. Well, it's so funny. I actually have this is personal story galore episode. Apologies. But I have two things to say. I actually had a conversation with Ben about hall passes this weekend. It's funny that this happened with you, because basically on Saturday night, Ben and I had the most exquisite meal at Rosella. We had like the most gorgeous dinner date where we were like having this stunning meal, and like they were pairing every single dish with like a new natural wine, and it was just like exquisite is the way I'm going to describe it, because for me at least, like one of my like simple pleasures in life is like seeing Ben enjoy food. And like that's
so fun.
That's not a niche thing, but I just like that's something that I love. And so anyways, we just like have like this 2.5 hour dinner where we're just like, it's been a hellish couple of months for me, and we're just like finally getting to like have a proper dinner date. And it's so beautiful. Anyways, it's like it really was one of our like more romantic meals in a very long time. Anyway, it's so good. I'm like, let's keep the good vibes going. Like we got a little drunk, and I was like, let's go walk around. So we like go, and we're like a little tipsy. We're walking around like the Lower East Side. It's very cute and fun. And then I'm like, let's go get a piercing. Not him, me. I wanted to get an ear piercing.
Oh my gosh, our mother. I hope she's not listening to this episode. Of course, drunk piercing could not be further from the Bledsoe brand. She was trying to raise us to a hold.
Honestly, and for the record, I just got a place that I'd already gotten re-pierced that had reclosed. So, I didn't get
she got her first hole in her ear re-pierced.
I got like anyways, it's like halfway up my ear. Anyways, it was like a gorgeous night that was like so fun. And then we're at this like late night piercing shop, and it was just like darling. And it was honestly a really cute, special memory. And
so then you proceeded to talk about having sex with other people?
No. Well, let me get to the end of the story. Okay, I go to sleep that night beyond in love with my boyfriend. Okay. Just so ready for the future ahead of us.
Yeah.
And well, in my dream, okay, I'm at some type of summer camp with Julian Casablancas, who is the lead singer of The Strokes. Oh, no. And let me tell you, he is so into me in this dream. He thinks it's so hot that they were my favorite band when I was in middle school and high school. He's so obsessed with me. And also he's like now divorced. So I do keep tabs on him. And so anyways, he's in the single realm. In my dream, we're like about to hook up, but I know that Ben is like in my life. Okay. I think Ben is in my life in my dream, but I'm just like, I'm like, he is so into me. Like, this is literally like my biggest like childhood crush, like whatever. Bigger than Harry Styles, bigger than anyone else. And he's not attractive, for the record. He's not attractive, but he is, who he is. So I wake up the next morning. Nothing happens in the dream, for the record, but it was just on the table, and I was not saying no. Okay?
No, yeah.
So I tell Ben the next morning, and he reminds me, I said, just so you know, I did have a dream last night that Julian Casablancas was into me, super into me, and things were probably going to happen. And and he then, takes it upon himself to remind me that my hall pass has already been used.
Wait, what?
Which I will then share this quick story, because my hall pass has already been used. It was used about a year and a half ago. One night, Lauren and I went to watch What Happens Live with Heather Gay. All right. And we end up partying with, people who were on that show and friends of theirs. We go out. We're with Heather, Maud Apatow, Lucas Gage, some of their other friends. We're out and about. Things are happening. All right. We're having a great time. Do you remember this at all?
Yes. I was
well,
there.
do you remember this night? But do you remember what happened?
No, I don't remember you betraying your boyfriend. That one slipped my radar.
Well, I didn't betray my boyfriend. For the record, from my vantage point, I did not betray my boyfriend. We're sitting around the table and Lucas Gage is sitting next to me. Lucas Gage is like the guy from White Lotus. He's also gay. He just married another man.
He just married Chris Appleton.
Yeah, Chris Appleton. I almost said Chris Stapleton. Chris Appleton. He's sitting next to me. I just have had a garlic knot and we're having a great time. Vibes are good. I turned to him and I go, do I have garlic breath? Okay. Just a thing you ask celebrities when you're hanging out with them.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Then he proceeds to kiss me on the mouth. He plants
don't
one on
remember
me.
this.
You don't remember this
Okay.
at all?
No,
So then
I don't remember.
I go, do I have garlic breath? And then he just gives me like a peck. And I instantly am just like, oh my gosh. Like I still feel so much guilt. I feel like all of a sudden, like, what have I done? Like I did not ask for this kiss, whatever. Also, I just want to say it was not like sexually aggressive or anything like that. So I don't feel like
I think we get the picture. This is
assaulted.
an innocent peck. Yeah.
An innocent peck. Anyways, I have to tell Ben the next day, which I honestly was nervous about. Not because I thought he'd be like raging, but I'm just like, oh, this thing happened that I didn't want to have happen. I'm not into this person. You guys can look him up. He's not my type.
For sure.
He's like, he is a gay man. He's not my type. So that is the story of how I use my hall pass and why I can no longer even have dreams about using it because it's already been used.
The thing is I think gay men fall under the same category as women, where a nary friendship kiss on a bleary-eyed evening, that it can be entirely innocent. Okay?
I know.
So your hall pass remains unused. Sorry, Ben. That's actually extremely gratuitous and selfish of him.
It is. It
that was
absolutely
your
is.
hall pass.
Right.
So
right.
I recommend bringing that up in therapy next time you guys go.
Thank you.
Should we talk, Chandler, about all of the kerfuffle going on with the Duchess of Sussex? Because it has not been a good week for the House of Montecito.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, let's talk about it.
So there's a Wall Street Journal article that came out that is just so blistering. And I want to read you a few quotes. I want to read all of our listeners a few quotes because I'm going to assume almost no one has read it because Wall Street Journal has one of the most intense paywalls to get past. I actually had to literally pay for it to get this article, which I've always been able to get past the paywall.
This article about Meghan Markle.
Yeah, this Wall Street Journal article.
Okay.
The title of the article is Harry and Meghan Produce a Hollywood Flop, themselves. They arrived 3 years ago with royal star power amid a streaming boom and have notched more cancellations and rejections than produced shows. Okay, so one thing to note is that this was on the front page of the Wall Street Journal. It appeared online, obviously. When people picked up their physical copies of Wall Street Journal and then opened it beneath the fold, this was on the front page. Like, that is so embarrassing for Meghan and Harry.
Also, the Wall Street Journal is like highbrow news. Like, I'm actually a little shocked that they're reporting on this.
This is not New York Post.
And that headline is really scathing.
100%. It's not like Marian Hagen find experience issues finding
Marian Hagen. It's so funny.
Sorry.
Just leave it in. I love it.
Just leave it in. Harry and Meghan, have trouble finding their, Dior enclosed footing in Montecito, in Hollywood's Montecito or whatever. No, it's Harry and Meghan produce a Hollywood flop themselves. Like, that is the Mail on Sunday wishes. That is fully a tabloid headline. And this is in a respected paper. So this is what the article reads. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle had been out of the UK for nearly 2 years when they began work on a project they believe could transform them from former royals to Hollywood power players. The subject of endless gossip and rumors, the couple felt qualified to tackle the thorny topic of misinformation. A documentary would cement Harry and Meghan as serious creative types and help shed their reputation as exiles from the House of Windsor trading family dirt for eyeballs. I mean, that really is the crux of their challenge, right? They are coming with gossip to spell and to shill, but what they signed deals for was to be like Hollywood power players who were actually like creative geniuses, like the type of talent that is required in order to write and produce and create, or just at least produce the kind of shows that are going to be massive hits for these big streamers. Like, people have worked their entire lives to develop the content that is going to hit it out of the park. The idea that Harry and Meghan with zero experience producing anything are just going to magically have talent at it.
Yes. I think that's such a good point. Just because you are born a blue blood or royalty does not mean that you are naturally gifted or talented.
No,
What other royals are like have successful talent-based careers? I can't think of one.
so after this article came out at the Cannes Lions Advertising Festival last week, Jeremy Zimmer, who's the CEO of United Talent Agency, slammed Meghan and said, turns out Meghan Markle was not a great audio talent or necessarily any kind of talent. He literally said what you just said. Just because you're a celebrity doesn't mean you're going to be good at something.
Right.
And apparently, yeah.
And also, like, she didn't just want to be like good at acting or good at being like, a public figure. She wanted to be good at talking about very, highbrow, high level subjects. She wanted to be like a philosopher, essentially.
She wanted to be like Michelle Obama.
Yes.
She wanted to be like Michelle Obama. The problem is like, girlfriend, if you want to be Michelle Obama, you have to actually do the work to be Michelle Obama.
Yes.
You better go to law school. You
totally.
better, work like in community organizing or work in like Michelle Obama has like an actual pedigree of real work experience.
Right.
Michelle Obama just wasn't trying to be a global superstar out the gate. That just like happened to her.
That being said, I don't know. I just like, is it a little bit rich for us to be talking about this? Like,
no, this is exactly what we're supposed to do. Why would it be rich?
I know. Well,
we're not trying to be Michelle Obama.
That's what I kind of want to say. Like, it's like, also, for the record, Meghan, we want to see the TIG. We're happy to have you be like public figure, influencer, like talking about your taste. Like, would love to see all that. Because that to me is like a little bit more of like the natural vein for her versus being like this Michelle Obama type figure.
Yeah, and Chandler, the thing is though, is like Meghan is just getting in her own way. Like she is her own enemy. One of our really astute listeners wrote in, I'm just going to actually read her comment because I thought it was extremely insightful. And this is another thing I want to say. I do have a little schadenfreude when I see that Meghan was not able to just out the gate be a huge podcast talent. As two total nobodies who are trying to podcast, I do think I experience a little schadenfreude, not because I want to see Meghan fail, but because I know that like you just don't get to have your cake and eat it too. Like you don't get to put everything on the line, spill the details of your life, let everyone into the inner world of your psychoses and neuroses and display your kind of like penchant for gossip and the lowbrow. Right. You don't get to just like do none of that and become a wild success because you're talking about like noble causes. Like, sorry, but you actually have to like kind of give people the juice, and that requires like honestly like bleeding out on the table for people a little bit and just hoping it works. And like you just don't get the success without the sacrifice.
I think what literally is as well, it's like she didn't want to be actually vulnerable. She wanted to be like pseudo vulnerable where she's like, I'm going to talk about this time where, someone didn't treat me perfectly, or I'm going to talk about this time where I felt like I was, treated negatively. Like, but it wasn't in like the stories never came across as her actually being vulnerable. It just came across as like weird virtue signaling, like pseudo vulnerable stories, if that makes sense.
For sure. And I think people found her to be extremely disingenuous whenever she would describe, I mean, I won't even go there, but okay. So this is what our dear listener, Jennifer, commented. She said, Meghan's artifice is the very thing she must not only surrender if she wants a career in any way that's not at a desk, but it's the thing that she has condemned the royal family for. The falsehood, the facade, the veneer that she said made the firm cold and unfeeling is the same fountain she drinks from that is making her boring and overly virtuous and inauthentic. Angelina Jolie has a tattoo that says, what nourishes me destroys me. Meghan's austerity that she has wielded like a sword of superiority is perhaps the weapon she will die by, metaphorically, if she can't just be normal.
Yes. Incredible. Look at this listener. This listener is brilliant.
A finger on the pulse. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Ding, ding, ding. And that's just like my point is like, we didn't get the small amount of traction we have received as two podcasters starting out with a combined 1,000 Instagram followers, like starting out from being total nobodies. We didn't do that by creating episodes that just serve to like make us seem
Look
like
better.
the most vanilla, boring, nice, perfect people on the planet. Like we got there by like kind of throwing
Being
ourselves under
vulnerable.
the bus like we did at the beginning of this episode.
Totally. I mean, also I'll take it a step further. I don't think it's just like her putting out vanilla content, which it is. I think it's also like it's self-aggrandizing content. It's stuff where like look at how beautifully I acted in this moment and the lesson I just, I'm teaching you with this story where I'm, telling Archie like, some people are experiencing homeless or no, they're in between homes. Like I'm going to tell you this story and it's also going to reveal how good of a person I am. Like people can sniff that out in a second and it's annoying. And also just nobody wants to listen to it.
People are so smart and they can really sniff out inauthenticity very quickly. Also, like the whole point of relatability is sharing like a shared suffering or a shared moment of fallibility. Like someone once said, like, does Kagen care that he's kind of portrayed negatively on the podcast? And can you imagine if I got on here and just said every perfect thing he did?
Right.
Like
right.
every moment in our relationship that was just incandescent perfection, the
Mhm.
joy I take and how attractive I find him. Like people would turn that shit off as
Right.
they
right.
vomited. Okay.
Right.
No one wants to hear it. They want to hear about how, he just needs Emrata blinking. Okay. Like that's what they want to hear. They want to hear what's relatable.
Well, it's about being relatable. Like it's literally about being
100%.
relatable. I think for every unrelatable moment you have to share that you might want to share, you need to share 3 to 4 relatable moments, I guess.
Like 10.
Yeah.
To keep it interesting. And so anyway, what's so interesting, Chandler, is that's what she's been unwilling to do.
Right.
And I think that if she had done that on the massive platform she was offered with Spotify and with Netflix, it would have been a raging success. I
would have
really believe
skyrocketed.
that. It would
I mean,
have
I would have loved it.
skyrocketed.
I would love nothing more than like the actual like peek behind the curtain reality TV show Meghan and Harry content.
Girlfriend, can I get a Cartier unboxing of your $100,000 Justin Clue necklace? Oh, I'm sorry. Was that too much to ask?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think so. Okay. She has all of the raw material. People have gone so much further and done so much better in their stats with so much less.
Right.
Like, just shut up and make some green goddess dressing on YouTube.
And your gorgeous Montecito kitchen.
Oh,
that's all I want. Your well-lit kitchen.
Is Ina Garten really like just so beneath you, Megan? Anyway, she could literally just do a cooking show. She could do a cooking show that's like ASMR, making roast kitchen and just laughing and being pretty. And people would like it. As long as it didn't come with like talking about like feminist chickens, we are good. So anyway, okay. So the article continues. This is just like so much juice in here. So a team assigned to the job at the pair's Los Angeles-based production company Archwell had questions for H&M, as the Sussexes are known to their employees. Would the Misinformation Project be a feature film or a series? Who would host it? Would it be historical or contemporary? Would Harry or Meghan appear in it? Would Meghan discuss her bitter history with British tabloids? And if not, who would want to watch?
Right.
The couple had few answers, according to people familiar with the inner workings of Archwell and Harry and Meghan's deal with the streamers. The Misinformation documentary soon met the fate of other Archwell projects and faded away. Prince Harry and Meghan's Hollywood foray is looking like a flop. They arrived in Southern California 3 years ago with their Duke and Duchess titles and plans to capitalize on a cash-rich streaming business desperate for star power to lure subscribers. The big ticket deals that followed, $100 million at Netflix and more than $20 million at Spotify, have led to more cancellations and rejections than produced shows. The couple showed they could mine their personal stories. Prince Harry's memoir Spare became a bestseller, and the six-part documentary that they produced for Netflix about their break from the royal family proved popular. That aside, they have struggled to make content that stretched beyond their own experiences. The graveyard of projects they hope to make include an animated children's show called Pearl that was canceled by Netflix, as well as at least 2 TV ideas that the streaming service rejected within the past year. The Spotify Pact produced a podcast, Archetypes, about the stereotypes that hold women back. A second season was discussed, but eventually nixed. Oh my gosh, it's just, let me see. So one thing that adds a little color to this whole tale and some like behind the scenes gossip is that basically Harry and Meghan, the reason why they were called grifters is that they were always trying to get stuff for free. So they would
Ooh.
like ask to fly on the private jet of, one of the executives at Spotify or Netflix, I think it was Spotify, to go like, do some recordings in a beach house or
Oh
something
my
like that, to
gosh.
do some work and maybe some ideation, brainstorming.
Oh my
Anyway,
gosh.
and apparently they did. And they were at a dinner with like some other powerful, very rich people who also had
Mm-hmm.
a beach home. And apparently Meghan like singled out this really wealthy woman and was like kind of like ingratiating herself with her. And the
Yeah.
next day, Harry texted to ask if they could borrow their beach house. So I guess the woman says yes to be nice. And then Harry responds and asks if they can take their private jet to go to the beach house. Yeah. Like,
Who?
I'm sorry. It's
Wow.
so tacky and
It's so
embarrassing, and it is
tacky.
so entitled.
Mm-hmm.
It is so
Mm-hmm.
entitled.
How did you get this tea?
This tea is very this tea is very for real. I don't remember where I got it though. I heard it on another podcast, and then I know that I read an article about it. So anyway, the tea is out there.
Wow.
Yeah, but I think that was
That's
like maybe
crazy.
an off the record story that was told
Yeah.
at Cannes or something. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Wowza.
So anyway, let's see here if there's anything else from this article that's like super juicy. Archwell employees and associates say the company often lacks direction and that its founders at times seem surprised by the work required to finish entertainment projects. Most potential initiatives, they say, follow the same route. Big idea, subpar execution.
Yep. I just want to say, I don't want them to just fade to the background and never, hear from them again. I want content from them. I just don't want the content that they think that I just don't want the content that I think they are only interested in producing and not even
Right.
producing well.
I mean, I won't put it this actually. No, I'm not going to say that at all because it'd be disrespectful to Taylor Swift. I was about to say it's like if Taylor Swift wanted to be a painter, it's like Taylor, you have a talent. We're going to need you to sing and write songs.
Just shut up
No,
and sing.
Taylor,
Dixie Chicks.
Miss Taylor Allison Swift. Like, sorry, but a career in the visual arts is not going to work. No, that's an insult to
Yeah.
Taylor Swift, who would truly be good at anything on this earth, even philanthropy.
I had mixed thoughts about her directing career, but moving
That's
on.
actually true. Taylor Swift cannot style, cannot do anything. Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Anyway, it was also leaked and revealed that Meghan wrote Taylor Swift a handwritten note asking her very thoughtfully to please come on her podcast. And apparently Taylor Swift declined through a representative, so didn't even, give her the favor of a personal reply. And I find that to be so interesting. I'm very curious as to your thoughts on why Taylor declined that invitation.
I think, first of all, this has Tree Payne's paws all over it.
Mm,
First of all, Taylor also doesn't do a lot of big interviews,
sure.
she just doesn't have to, straight up. So I don't think she needs to come on Archetypes and get any more publicity from it. And I also just think Meghan and Harry are messy, and I don't think that Taylor wanted to align with their at times messy brand.
I think you're absolutely onto something. I also think that Taylor Swift has met Prince William. I think there's probably a loyalty to the most
To Kate.
powerful family on earth. I think
Mm.
Taylor Swift didn't get to where she is today because she's dumb. I think she got there because she is smart. And I think that she sees that it would be unwise to associate herself with the grifters and social climbers in Santa Barbara rather than the, head of the British
Right.
Empire. I think she's it's all very clear to her.
This makes me want to look at actually who appeared on Archetypes. I'm going to look at this.
It was Paris Hilton. It was apparently they wanted to get Hillary Clinton, Michelle Obama. They wanted to get very, very rarefied types, but they could get Paris Hilton, Mariah Carey.
Jamila Jamil checks out.
Classic.
There was Trevor Noah, Andy Cohen, but Serena Williams, Mindy Kaling. I mean, to be honest, I would say this tier of celebrities is not top tier.
No, this
and
is
Taylor.
not
I would say
A-list.
Taylor Swift is superstar, mega star,
super A-list,
super A-list. If Michelle Obama was on it, that'd be one thing, but she wasn't on it.
There's a lot of reports online that Michelle Obama is trying to distance herself from Meghan Markle.
Really?
Yeah, so Megan and apparently, so this is the report. So Megan and Michelle met for tea, and this is when
Yeah.
Megan was still in the royals. And apparently, the
Yeah.
way that Megan talked about the queen was so disrespectful that it
What?
like apparently made
What?
Michelle Obama like nauseous, or like it made her like really upset, or like it
Right.
really freaked her out. The way you can, everyone could Google Michelle Obama. This is according to Tom Brower. Yeah, Michelle Obama was like very unsettled after meeting with Meghan Markle. And she said that Meghan was clearly unaware of how much
Mhm.
respect her and Brock had for the queen.
Right, right. I mean, I'm sorry, but Michelle and Barack, dignitaries, the queen, dignitary of all dignitaries, like you have to know that there's a line. And I think there's probably a way to throw some shade while still, being respectful. But if you're going to show up to lunch with Michelle Obama and then expect her to just want to like gab and
Just
gossip
shit
about the
talk the
queen,
queen with you?
like after Michelle Obama was the first lady of the United States, like I literally
Good
worship at
luck.
the feet of Michelle Obama. Like, good luck. Like, you are going to come across as someone who doesn't know your place.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, apparently Michelle Obama gave a
Mm.
quote like, "What would your advice be to Megan?" And her quote was like, "This was after they departed,"
Mm-hmm.
and her quote was like, "Don't do anything too quickly. Really take your time."
Mm-hmm.
Basically,
Ugh,
trying to
she's so
say like,
classy.
"Slow your roll, girl."
Right, right.
Politics aside, Michelle Obama is a true class act, and Megan would do well to take note.
And
Also, Michelle
yeah,
Obama is like infinitely relatable.
we're not going to, talk about politics, but I also just think I think Michelle Obama is a very good person to her core.
Yeah, and like, isn't it ironic that Barack Obama admits to watching more TV than Meghan Markle? Like, isn't that kind of funny?
Barack Obama having like a Spotify playlist that's like cute and great. Like, it's just, yeah, anyways.
My theory, I've expressed this before. 20 seconds left on Meghan Markle, everyone. But
Yeah.
my theory is that it's kind of like, I don't know if anyone ever told a lie about themselves in elementary school, and like you're kind of like you're so dumb at that age that you think you can kind of
Yeah.
get away with it, and then basically what
Right.
you've done is you painted yourself into this corner where you have to lie constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember saying something stupid in like the third grade, and it just came back to haunt me daily as I did defend my, little white lie. Anyway, point being, I think that Meghan Markle began her relationship with Prince Harry putting on such airs, like
Mm-hmm.
really saying, "I have no idea who you are," really saying that my guiding life force is volunteering. She was
Yep.
not herself. And I think that if she was to just kind of like break
Drop it.
character and be relatable and drop the mask, Harry would see
But
that she was disingenuous from the start.
I don't think that it's that black and white where she like, suddenly has a slightly less interest in volunteering and was like, maybe I'll get back into the TIG. I mean, she's already supposed to be restarting the blog. Like I don't think that it's that black and white for Harry.
Again, she's there, she's blinking. He's probably ready to go. It's like he doesn't care about the scale of how much she likes to volunteer.
Right. And yeah.
Yeah. Also, so the most interesting thing about this is they started with these crazy deals with these huge
Yeah.
behemoths, and then they tried to do the PBS adjacent programming no one cared about. So
Mm-hmm.
now I think that they are legitimately going to go in the way of like a Bethany Frankel, and they're going to have to truly prostrate themselves before the masses with some sort of actual YouTube content. Like, I think that their only path to monetization and like trying desperately to build the kind of wealth needed in order to maintain their lifestyle
Mm-hmm.
is through pandering to what people want, and it just honestly on less of a, like, with less big brands and producing power behind them.
They're honestly having to like reverse back into a monetization because like they're starting with big brands and now they like can no longer maintain those deals, and so they're gonna have to like go back to like literally like us, YouTube, influencing, like all those things that like grassroots things that normal people just try to do to like get up off the ground. Like they're gonna have to like reverse back into that.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see what comes from them. It is rumored that the TIG is coming back that in the next couple
Yeah.
months. It was also rumored though that Megan would be signing with Dior. Apparently that is not happening. Dior was like, we don't
Yeah.
know where this came from.
No, literally.
I mean, what fashion house wants to align with the enemies of the British royal family? Like,
No.
oh, you think Cartier?
Right.
Cartier, who has
Yeah.
like bejeweled kings and queens
Mm-hmm.
for generations, is going to want to get with the traitor? I don't think
Right.
so. Okay. What other
Okay.
celebrity news though? We got to get off of the Markles.
Okay, so everyone, before Taylor Swift surprised fans with her performance of Dear John, she gave a address to the audience and, to the concert goers, where she basically asked fans to act with kindness and gentleness as her album Speak Now comes out. Okay. And she said, I'm not putting this album out so that you can go and should feel the need to defend me on the internet against someone you think I might have written a song about 14 million years ago. So, and then she proceeds to, I think, play Dear John after that, which is obviously the song allegedly about John Mayer. So I actually have two different thoughts about this.
Please.
When I first heard about it, I thought growth queen. She
Mm.
is the epitome of someone who knows her power and knows when to use it for good, knows when to focus Taylor Nation on goodness and truth and kindness. And I do think that she has, for the most part, grown past, being 19 and those relationships. And obviously it would be annoying to have it look like you're still burning with rage over a relationship you had when you were 19. And the bittersweet truth is that this stain will never go away for John Mayer, and she will just continue to make quadruple what he will ever make, and her star will just burn brighter and brighter. Now, that being said, I do think she wrote that song Would've, Could've, Should've. And
yeah,
I
she
do think,
did. She sure did.
And that
she
song
sure
is on
did,
Midnights.
Chandler.
And that is the song where my theory starts to crumble a little bit, because that song is very clearly also about John Mayer. She references being 19. She says, "Give me back my girlhood. It was mine first." Like, it's a scathing song. And she released that on her most recent album.
The song details her relationship with an older man when she was 19, with all signs clearly pointing to John Mayer. Interestingly, the track was released when Taylor was 32, the same age the singer was when he dated the then teenage Taylor. The lyrics are incredibly telling, painting a picture of her loss of innocence through the toxic relationship. I damn sure never would have danced with the devil at 19.
Right.
And the God's honest truth is that the pain was heaven. And now that I'm grown, I'm scared of ghosts. Memories feel like weapons. And now that I know, I wish you'd left me wondering. I do not think that she no longer cares about what happened to her when she was 19.
Which is why Taylor just kind of always baffles me, because she's releasing new, not from the vault songs. I don't believe Would've, Could've, Should've is from the vault. She's releasing new songs that she wrote 10, 12 years later, but is also telling fans that she doesn't care anymore.
I'm sorry, Chandler, but is it straining your credulity?
It is. I love her so much, and I do think she wants to still write songs about it, but I don't believe that she wants, all of the trolls online to, be like pointed at John Mayer. I don't think she wants that mess on her hands.
I think that it's kind of like if you're talking to your ex-boyfriend's friends, you randomly run into them, you know whatever you say is going to get back to them. That's where you're like, oh, sorry, what was his last name again?
Right.
Oh my gosh, I almost forgot. We dated. We dated for 4 years, and he broke my heart, and he, tortured and killed my soul. I forgot that happened. I think that she's putting on a little bit of a show, knowing John is gonna see the video of her at the concert saying that. And again, we love the relatable Taylor. We love the relatable queen who still gives many shits about what went down 14 years ago.
Yes, Lauren, totally agree. Yeah, she always gives us something to chew on.
That's so true. I love that woman. Anyway, very interesting. I will absolutely be doxing. I already have an entire army on 4chan of warriors against John Mayer. I think I'm going to have an army outside of his Beverly Hills enclave the day that Speak Now is released on July 7th. They're gearing up now. No, I'm just kidding. But if someone does want to lead the charge, LFG.
I mean, it's just John Mayer is just pitiful in comparison to her. Like, he's just like pitiful.
Nothing is, there's no water under the bridge when it comes to anything that has been committed against one Taylor Allison Swift, for me personally. So nothing is forgotten, and there is no forgiveness for John.
No
apologies,
I have none.
Sorry, Taylor.
He also wrote that like response song. I think Paper Doll is like supposed to be about Taylor, and it just like,
I have the lyrics.
The most
Do you want me to read
forgettable song. Yeah, I know you have some thoughts prepared about the relationship.
I do, but we're over time, and so we're just going to have to keep it brief. In his track Paper Doll, John detailed an ex who was good to, in quotes, and puts the blame of the split back onto the girl who was a little paper doll, in quotes,
Oh
and
my
too
gosh.
fragile to handle the relationship. There were many similarities between the lyrics of Paper Doll and Dear John, all but confirming the track was about Taylor. So here's some lyrics. He says, "Here's a dress of gold and blue," which could be a reference to the outfits she wore when they performed on stage together. And then the lyric, "Someone's got to paint you another sky." Lyric calls back to Dear John lyric, "Paint me a blue sky and go back and turn it to rain." Meanwhile, the track's central chorus says, "You're like 22 girls in one, and none of them know what they're running from."
He sucks.
So we wonder which song. So what song of Taylor's does this refer to, Chandler? Oh, probably 22. Okay, which was just released.
Right.
After Taylor and Joe Alwyn purportedly split in early April, John, so this is just now, okay, John has been stoking this flame. John decides to play Paper Doll that weekend. He also called the song a little bitchy. In a clip posted online, John said of the song's bad reputation, "I wonder if people don't like it because it sounds a little pissed off." I don't really like Pissed Off as a song. I think it was more Hurt, but I think there might be something about it that's a little bitchy. I try not to get bitchiness in the song, but it happens sometimes. Swifties were not very happy with Joan for performing the supposed Taylor diss track on the same day her split with Joe was made public.
Wow.
I'm sorry, but again, this is... Can we get Ryan Gosling in the rain to just say, this wasn't over? It still isn't over.
It still isn't over. Wow, I just got the chills. It still isn't over. Wow, I didn't know that he played that. Wow.
So
just celebrities are so fascinating. Like they're just always sending each other smoke signals, or not even smoke signals, just actual signals.
Yeah, Chandler, it's actual signals, and it's absolutely delicious to enjoy, to watch, to chat with you about on this fine Tuesday morning. Happy birthday to our dad. We love our dad so much. He is truly the wind beneath our wings and just the most wonderful, wonderful man. And so we do want to wish him a very warm happy birthday. Sorry, Dad, that we don't have any tales of betrayal for you at concerts, but you always had the good sense to not force us to go to anything we didn't want to go to and never go to The Killers concert. So good job.
It's true. Dad, love you so much. Sorry we talked about Taylor Swift. I know you don't love her as much as you used to. So apologies for doing that on your birthday.
Yeah. What happened? How did Taylor betray her father?
Her politics. And I'll leave it at that.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, you guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Pop Apologists. If you've enjoyed it, please share it on your stories, include a link, use the link sticker on Instagram so people can easily tap and listen. Shout us out, tag us, so we'll repost it and then send you our undying gratitude. We will be back on Friday with a deep dive on the Patreon, on the Duggars. So we're going to do that on Friday on Patreon, most likely, or potentially next week. Anyway, there will be a juicy Patreon episode this Friday. So
don't you worry.
Regardless of topic, please sign up for the Patreon. It is my birthday next week. It could be your little birthday gift to me.
Yeah, please.
You know this bitch loves $7.99. And
true.
with that, we'll catch you next week. Bye.
Bye.
That's all for now, folks. Don't forget, give us a 5-star review, hit us up on Instagram at Pop Apologists, and we will see you next week, live every Wednesday.